everyone, welcome to Watercolor Wednesday. I am Bonnie Krebs, creator of Watercolor, the Art Impressions Way, and we are still in our new releases. So this week is another new release from January, and I think you're going to really like this project. I really love it. It's one of my favorites, mostly because it's so easy, and I think that's why I love certain ones more than others, because they are almost foolproof, and this one really is. It's really easy to make it look three-dimensional because of these stones, and I'm going to show you how to do those. And it's just, it doesn't take a lot to put this together. This actually is 5 stamps and 5 markers, so super, super easy to do, and I think you're going to really like this one. So let's get going. We're going to need a few things. So first of all, we're going to need that wishing well set. So this one right here, and you can see it comes with the bucket as part of the image, but you can also leave that off, so really versatile. In the new foliage set, so foliage set 3, we're going to use the grasses and this little vine right here. In the original foliage set, the little grass. And then in the new mini flower set, we're going to use this long stem right here, so this one. So the first thing we're going to do is ink that basic image, and that would be the wishing well. And we're going to ink it in 2 colors. So we're going to use our sepia and our African violet. Those are the 2 colors that really start most projects now. It gives us a really nice base color, and I think it makes it so much easier to get that depth that we're looking for. We don't want this to look flat. We want it to have dimension, and it's that number sepia, that number 45, that really is that 3-dimensional color. So it kind of just creates all the magic. So we're going to ink that. I inked it with the African violet first and then the sepia, and I'm just going to stamp it in the center of my paper. Remember, don't just press on that too hard. You want to get a nice even pressure. And actually, now that I look at this, this looks a little dark to me. So I'm going to, I'm just going to stamp that one more time. So if you see that you've gotten too much ink on here, just go ahead and stamp it off and do it one more time. That's a little better. I want this to be really light and soft. You can see the colors on here are really light and soft, so I don't want those really harsh edges. And this is the way to get it. So start out with a lighter image. Don't just mash that stamp into the paper, but just do a nice even pressure. Okay, so let's go ahead and add water now to that image. So dip your brush, pinch it off, and start out by pulling the color out of the lines and just kind of follow these lines. Remember, you're staying in these little sections, so you don't ever want to cross the lines. And in here, you can see these 2 little lines are really close together. That's going to create more color. Even in these little areas where you think it's really, really light and small, it really matters to leave a highlight on top. And then as we kind of work our way down, over here, we're pulling this color over on the roof, see, from the back side, so we can create this highlight along the edge and still staying in our sections. So don't take your brush and cross over these lines. So important to do that. And then the little bucket. See, this is rounded, so we are going to drag this color over from the side where it would be the darkest. And this little line right here, it's really decorative. I kind of threw you off by putting that kind of in the center like that. So we really don't want to add any color here. Don't pull any color out of the center line. It's just decorative. So we want to keep that color concentrated on the side of the image so that we can see that highlight in the center. And let's go down to the rocks now. So in here, these are all rounded. So they have a highlight in the front. So they're coming forward. The highlight is not on the top. The highlight is coming forward. So that means the light is going to be right in the center. So we're going to pull this color out from where it's the darkest, and that would be on the sides. So you want to be sure to leave that highlight in the center. That is going to make all the difference in the world. You will be amazed at how this turns out if you just follow that one rule. So each one is separate. Remember, even these tiny little areas, you want to stay inside each section. Just stay inside the lines. Show that highlight on the top. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just have to see it. Got to see it on there. And just kind of work your way down. It doesn't matter that the ink is dried. As soon as you touch it with your brush, it's going to activate that ink again. And let me just hold this up a little bit so that you can really see that. See how that brings those rocks out? It really, really pops them out and makes them three-dimensional. You can drag your brush underneath because this little ledge is popping out, and we can add some more color to that later. This in here is the inside of the well, so that also is going to be very dark. And with these little stones, this also is going to have a little bit of a highlight here. So we're going to kind of drag this over. It's very subtle. It's not as rounded as these rocks, but it's still going to be there. So just leave those areas light. And you can see we've got a three-dimensional image already. Just so easy to do. Let's put a little shadow underneath there. And I'm going to take my number 86, and I'm going to really darken this little area inside the well. And you can see how that really adds dimension just doing that, because that's way down deep inside this opening here. And so that's going to be really, really dark. You can put a little bit here and a little bit more detail. If you happen to wash out some of these lines, just put them back in. No big deal. We can easily do that. And actually, let's just put another line underneath here, just to really pop that little ledge out. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's go on to the next step, and we're gonna add some color now to this little wishing well. And I'm gonna do that with the number 29 Prussian blue. I love this color, especially if you're doing a really soft image. It's just a really, really beautiful blue, and we can start out with it really, really light. So you want to add, enough water so that you've got a really, really light image, because you're kind of just, you're building this color. It's going to go on very light, and we're gonna add it just the way that we pulled the color out of the line. So we're gonna drag it from where it would be the darkest and pull it over. And just do it very, very lightly. So let's add some more to this little post. It's just the idea of it, remember? Let's add some to the bucket. And again, it's going to be where it would be the darkest. So we're going to add that color from the sides, just like we would a rounded container. Same way. We just want to see that, we want to see that rounded edge and see that highlight. So, so important. And even though these little areas are tiny, it just makes such a difference. When you get your entire composition done, your eye looks at it and goes, wow, I just really like that. That's perfect. Okay, so we've got this color on there. We've got the little bucket colored. See that highlight in there? So important. Let's just add that little shadow in again. So just drop that little shadow in underneath the handle. And we can actually make this a little darker too. Leave that highlight on the top. This is a rounded image. The highlight is on the top. And we can just add the color like that. Let's put a little bit underneath this roof also. So just darken this underneath. Again, stay in the sections. And let's just do one more pass over the roof so we get a little more color in here. And you can see how this roof just kind of has more texture. It's not flat. And that's really, it's just an illusion because we have stayed inside the lines. And we've kind of created this, it looks like these boards are kind of lifting on the edges. And that's because of that white that we've left in here. So important to do that. This would be dark under this little overhang here. So we're showing that by creating that, making that a little darker. And you can carry this color into the stones too. It's kind of cool. The more color you add, I think the more interesting it is and the more three-dimensional it is. So don't be afraid to just drag some of these colors into different areas. It just takes a little bit of courage, but once you start doing it, it's really, really fun. Okay, so we've got our little wishing well all colored, and let's go ahead now and do the fun part, and that's to add all the vines and the flowers to it. We're going to ink this now. This is the little vine, and we're going to ink it in 2 colors. I don't know if you can see this really clearly. You can see a little bit of the purple at the top. We're going to color this with two colors. This is actually a vine, but it's really fun to create a little bloom at the end and just do something different. So we're going to ink it in 2 colors. So I'm using the number 72, and I'm just going to stamp it a couple of times, and you can see how that purple is just coming out. So fun. You don't have to be careful about it. Just do the tip purple and the rest of it green. And let's just turn this and do a few more over here. And we'll ink it again. So you're still doing that repeat. We want to get that in there a few times so that we can see that light to dark. And let's just grow this one up around the post. And we'll just ink it again. 2 colors. This is number 8, violet. And let's just put some of this up here. You know, it really doesn't matter how you get this in here. I know I say that every time, but it will just come together. Don't ever worry about, you know, that you haven't got it in the exactly into the right place. It's never going to be a problem. I promise. I promise. Okay, so I've got some vines growing in here. Maybe, I think I've got enough. You can always come back in here and add a few more if you want to. So let's start with the green. Let's start out by softening the green and pull this color from the roof right into it. You want this really soft look. We're using these very soft watercolor colors, so the soft lavenders and the bright blues. And so we can mix all these together. And the more that we blend, the softer it will get. It really will. So not very much water on your brush, and just jump it around, just like always. It's all the same technique. It's just, we're just using it in different combinations. Which is what I love about it, because once you get it, you get it. You totally get it. Stamp and add water and jump your brush around and you're good to go. Okay, so you can see we've got our little, vines all softly in. And let's go back now to the purple and do our little blooms. And this isn't gonna take much because these are tiny, tiny little lines. And so just touch it a little bit. You're just changing the shape of that stamp and softening those lines. That's it. Just really fun to do this. It's such a soft look. Okay, let's go ahead and add a little more sky in. So a little more of this blue into the sky. And just blend it. Remember, think about your image in a circle. And that sky is not to go past that boundary. So just wash it out. If you feel like you're creeping towards that circle, just take your brush and dip it in water and just soften the lines. Just soften the lines and blend it out. Don't let that sky go off of your page. You won't be as happy with it. And sometimes it's those little things, you can do everything right and then one little thing will go off the rails and you don't like it, and it's probably something like that. Maybe your sky has completely gone off the page and your image is here in the center. So little things like that make a big difference. Okay, this is looking pretty good. We are getting close to being done, and you can see how quick and easy this little project is. So easy to do. Okay, let's go ahead and put some grasses in. So we're gonna use that same number 72. And we can put maybe 1 or 2 in the front. And then let's use let's just use this same one here. You can use the one going to the other direction, or you can just put it in like this. There are in that set 2 sets of grasses, one going either direction. So up to you how you want to do it. And let's just add a little bit of the tiny grass. So this is the little teeny tiny grass from the original foliage set, and we'll just put a little bit of this in. Just kind of walk it across the front. And then add your water and just pull that color that's going to be pulled up and out. So fun, just soft and easy. Just blend this all together. And then one last step, let's put that little long stem in. And I'm using the red, so persimmon, number 89. We'll just put a little bright flower in here. And also the number 72. And just get it in here a few times. And re-ink it. Let's just put one more in here, just like that. Looks good. And then hit it with the water, just with the tip of your brush. You don't have to do anything with the long stems. Those are good to go. And let's just add a little more shadow. Once you're finished, you can come back and just look at it and see if you want to add any more details to it. I'm going to really darken on the inside of this bucket. I'm going to really darken the sides again. Up in here, in this little area, this would be really dark up in these rafters up here. Just so fun. The whole thing of it is so fun. It's very relaxing to do, easy to travel with. Such a fun technique. And I think we are about finished with this one. And that means there's only one thing left to do, and that is to sign and date. So try this project. I think you're gonna really love it. It's quick and easy, and it makes the cutest little card. Try it, sign it and date it, put it on a card or put it in a frame and give it away. You are going to make someone's day. They are going to love it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next week.